Hi guys, and welcome to a very different type of video. And normally I'd be posting a tech news related video right now, giving my opinion on the latest tech news. However, today, I'd like to share with you guys, my early viewers and subscribers, my story of how I got here today and how I ended up starting off my YouTube channel. I've always been interested in computers and technology ever since I was a young boy. My father was actually a trained computer repair technician, and growing up I inspired to be like him. My father started me off at a young age building computers out of rubbish parts that we just collected in a shed for years. So I would sit there for hours, grabbing old motherboards, Pentium 3 processors, and the weirdest combination of RAM sticks anyone's probably ever seen, building up these little Frankenstein-esque computers, or taking them apart, rebuilding them, and I would do that days on end. When I was a little bit older, my father started getting more and more involved with building and maintaining my own PC. He taught me about cable management. He taught me what works together, what doesn't work, how to build it, the best practices. Then, unfortunately, as I got older, for some reason, I sort of fell out of line with my roots. I began to be interested in music for a while, so my parents decided to buy me a musical keyboard for my birthday. And I would sit there for hours a day, learning how to play the keyboard. And I bought books on it, and I'd learn days and days and days. And I was getting pretty good. And then I lost interest. At this point, I was still finishing school, and I passed my GCSEs with 10 A-star to C grades, and went on to what was considered the best A-level college in my area. But deep down, I knew I was done with education. I didn't want to keep going through the same old, sitting in classrooms, learning stuff. I wanted to be out there, getting into work, earning money, earning a living. And so I didn't focus on my education at all. There was nothing more I wanted to do than work. And so I got a job working in a local shop, stacking shelves after the store closed. So I'd go there after college and work through till about 10, half 10 at night. Go home, get some sleep, go to college the next day. And I would do that for the rest of my A-level time, which I only sat the first year when I'd failed my A-level exams and dropped out. At this point, was my parents, rightfully so, a little bit disappointed because I could have done a lot better if I'd applied myself, but I just wasn't interested. I decided to go down a completely different route this time, and I went to a BTEC school, a BTEC college, and studied public services so I could get a foothold into joining the RAF. I wanted to be a communication technician. But once again, deep down, I didn't want to be sitting in a classroom learning. I wanted to be out working. So I got myself a job working in a nightclub, and I would finish college around 4 p.m., go home, get some rest, get up at 8 p.m., have dinner, go to work, getting back home about 5 a.m., going to sleep, or getting up again at 7 to go to college. Eventually, I was so adamant that I didn't want to continue college that I stopped attending, but luckily I still managed to actually pass that course. Now that I wasn't going to college, I knew the work 3 days a week in a nightclub wasn't going to be enough. So I quit working in nightclubs and started working in call centers, which gave me some of the best and worst years of my life. I went through quite a few bad companies before landing a job in a complaints department, where I'd work for the next couple of years, building up. I ended up being well liked in the department, but I got to the point where the work started to feel a bit too samey. It was too much just the same thing on a daily basis. So once again, I quit the job, and I landed myself a job working in a detention center, which proved to last a little bit less time than I would have originally liked. I was there for just a few short months before, during training, my right knee would be dislocated. Per me, at the time, I had to be taken to hospital, be checked over. I had to have a splint on my leg for the next couple of months, and I was unable to walk without that splint or crutches. I then had to go to physiotherapy, learn to walk again because my knee just wasn't strong enough to be able to walk normally. And during through all this time, it was probably one of the toughest times I've ever endured because I'd never been physically unable to do something. When I was younger, I used to ride bikes. I used to run a bike repair shop. So I used to ride bicycles all the time, and I used to ride them, fix them for other people. And now all of a sudden, I couldn't even get up and walk myself. I had to have help. I had to have crutches. And I was a bit crushed each of the time. My employer, being the nice people they were, decided that as I was unable to return to the job in the time that they would have liked, decided that I was no longer to be working for them, which now left me in a position without money, without a job, and without being able to go into an active role in any sort of physical means at the time, because I still was not strong enough to be able to walk on my leg for that long. Luckily for me, I managed to find a taxi office that would take me on, and I would work there for almost a year. I started off just answering the phones and quickly ran up through the ranks and became a controller. Unfortunately, my mental health at the time wasn't so great, and with the amount of stress of the role and some of the bickering you get in a taxi office, I just found it to be too much. So I spoke with managers and I took a demotion back down to answering the phones. I mean, I was happy again at the time, and I felt like I was in the right work for me at the time. It was something I could do because I said I couldn't walk around for a long time, I couldn't run, I couldn't carry heavy stuff. And I mean, I was helping with IT issues and I enjoyed my work. Then 2020 struck. In March, I became ill myself. I had to self-isolate. It was suspected that I might have had COVID, but no tests would run around this sort of time. This was before the first lockdown. So I was off work for 14 days. Then the first lockdown hit, and I stayed at home. I was working from home. We was sort of doing a few odd hours on control here and there. Really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, I was only furloughed until July 2020 when my employer had to reluctantly let me go. As being obviously in the taxi business, they weren't earning enough money with the fact that no one could really go out to keep all their staff on. At this point, I was probably in the lowest point of my life because the job I'd really liked, and probably one of the only jobs I didn't think about leaving, I no longer had. And my previous injured knee started to play up from time to time. But also in the previous months, whilst being furloughed, on days I wasn't working, I was exercising more, I was taking my hobby seriously. Found a real interest in photography, and I set up an Instagram channel for photography, and I started doing a lot of work with that. But I knew I still was not as happy as I could be. Luckily for me, I'd met my now fiance back in March, and upon losing my job and realizing that I wouldn't be able to go the whole distance that I was traveling to see her, we decided to take the plunge and we moved in together. And instantly I started to feel a lot better. I was a lot happier. I was no longer too worried about, so I still wanted to go back to work, but I wasn't too worried that I wasn't able to at the time. Was with everything going on, my mental health started to get a lot better. And December 2020, at times a bit tough, it's around Christmas, I decided that I'd push myself and go back to work. Obviously, there wasn't a lot of jobs going around at the time, so I applied for a job working in a warehouse. I knew it was something that was going to be quite stressful, quite strenuous for me, especially my knee, but I had to push myself. I was adamant I had to do it. So I applied for the job. I managed to get the job. Unfortunately, on my first day, my knee really badly played me up. I struggled to get home that day, and it was really, really hard for me to actually get back home. And this was really early hours of the morning, so I'd worked through the night. And I had to take a decision I didn't want to do. I had to leave the job. The money was great. I loved the work, but I couldn't do it with my knee because it caused me too much agony. I'd pretty much given up on things at this point. I was getting really down because it dawned on me that because of that accident, I can no longer work in places like that. And I didn't really want to go back to office work. I'd done office work for so many years. I didn't really want to have to go back to it. Especially at the moment, there's not a lot of office work going that I'm qualified to do because I dropped out my A levels and I just didn't have the qualifications people were looking for, the experience they were looking for. My fiance was quite supportive and pushed me just to do something I really wanted to do. So I thought back to my hobbies. I remembered my love for photography. I remembered my love for making videos. I loved when I used to have my own YouTube channels. I used to run a gaming channel. I used to be part of Black Widow TV as well before I moved. The gaming channel was quite a few years ago and it was doing quite well before I gave it up because of work. And I went, you know what? I like technology. I like photography. I like doing videos. I like to have my YouTube channels in the past. So I took a plunge. I started up this YouTube channel, which, like I said, I've had a little experience from the previous channels I'd run and been a part of. Now, at the time of making this video, I have 2 subscribers, 111 views, 3 likes, and 3 dislikes, all within my first 11 days of running the channel. And I'm grateful to every person that watches my videos, anyone who subscribes, and believe it or not, every single like and dislike, as every like, every dislike, every view, every single minute people watch, every time someone takes a plunge and hits that subscribe button, it pushes me to keep going and it pushes me to keep improving both myself in how I'm delivering these videos and the quality of these videos. As you can see, I'm now filming on my DSLR camera that I bought originally for my photography work. And I don't have the best lighting at the moment, but I'm making do with what I've got. I have a LED ring light that's pretty much above me, and I'm using a lamp as a bit of an accent light that is just off this side here, which is why I've got this sort of orange tint down this side of my face. Unfortunately, I do have these shadows I would like to get rid of, but unfortunately, there's nothing I can redo with that at this moment with the equipment I've got. But I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to improve the channel a lot. I'm going to improve myself a lot. And I have a lot of exciting content planned for the near future and a lot of improvements coming to the channel very soon. So I would like to say thank you for watching this video. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you very much for watching until the end. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button below. The usual tech videos will be back again tomorrow. Please subscribe and comment what you thought of this video and any improvements I should make. Until next time, bye bye for now.